It's Aaron, the Metal Theologian. Taking a little break from playing Live here. So I'm actually going to talk about that one a little bit as a review, but I don't want to start doing too many video game reviews. But I know that there are a few of you who heard of that shit too. So what the hell, right? Yeah, it's funny. I was just getting ready to turn the thing on, and the record ended. So I was listening to this Feather de Gamba record. So I've kind of gone back on the Void shit, and I'm actually going to feature a record, but here, I'll fucking put this one on for this It's All Meat one. I just kind of was reunited with this one recently. It's funny because I had this once upon a time and let go of it because I wasn't crazy about it. And then I decided I wanted it again when I got into this kind of stuff and was liking a lot of records that I used to not care for. And yeah, and then of course this thing had gotten harder to find. So I actually saw a copy of it just a week or two ago. Actually, it's the same day that I got that Dry Water record. But at a place here in town, I had a copy and I was like, oh shit, what looks like God wants me to buy this. But then I noticed it's a newer reissue. It's not on the Void label. I don't know if the other reissue, the one that I saw, is legit or not. If I had to put down a few bucks, though, my money would be on no. But even beyond that, because I don't really get bent out of shape about that, I just like the Void shit, man. It's just cooler. And here's another example of that. Fucking Boulder Dam right here. So this is another one. Now this one I kept. This is the original copy that I got back probably about the time this thing came out, which was a while ago. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, a couple other people have talked about this, and it kind of gets lauded as a cool old hard rock record, and it has that going on. But I think I kind of just put my finger on it. This is more like a freak rock record that happens to be kind of heavy too. You know what I mean? If you listen to it that way, this thing is fucking fantastic. Whereas if you're just listening to it because you're expected to be rocking, then there are kind of some stretches where they're kind of, they're kind of doing shit that's worthy of that hair and mustache and shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, awesome record though. If you don't have this one, this is goddamn. So this is what I'm talking about here. I didn't really show it, but I might as well. It's All Meat. Some Canadian guys. There's another one I heard it was kind of heavier. I mean, it's pretty rockin', but it's definitely a psychedelic rock record, And when I got this again, I put it on, and I was like, yeah, I see exactly why I didn't really like this record 15 years ago, or whatever it was that I got rid of my first copy, so... But now I think it's fantastic, man, so hey. Alright, so I got another one to talk about, another specific one. This was a new release, so check this shit out. So this is the latest on Void. This is Orfeus, Lying to the Wall, I guess. And obviously that cover's fantastic. I'd never heard of these guys before this thing came out. Look at these guys though, man. What they lack in mustaches, they make up for with just sort of general, well, I don't want to say dorkiness, so let's say youthful exuberance. And you hear it on the fucking record too, man. I mean, honestly, this record is not an all-time classic or something like that, And it has a couple covers on it that I kind of don't need, We Can Work It Out. I can actually hang with their cover of All Right Now, the Free song. We Can Work It Out just feels a little bit, Anyway, but you know something? It's some nobody band from Kentucky, from Lexington, and they're not that heavy, but they're a cool rock band. They're rock and rollers at heart, you know what I mean? You can hear that in it. And it's just a cool record, man. So yeah, this thing is kicking around. It's pretty cheap, but you can probably get a copy of this for less than 20 bucks. So I think it's worth it. I played this a few times. I'm going to play it again after this one. So yeah, right on. Actually, something else? This thing also represents my very first promo that I got. So after I did my first Void video, the dude sent me this one. I totally appreciate it. But I was really angling for that, and like I was like, oh shit, you know, it's really like a promo. What if I hate it now, you know? But I'm sure I can be honest. If I can't be honest, there's no point, right? And I recommend the record. I just think Boulder Dam is better. If you have a choice between this one and the Boulder Dam on Void, get the fucking Boulder Dam. Because not only is it better, it's harder to find. So you'll have another crack at the Orfeus sooner. Alright, so cool. So here's another one. This is for Mr. Bip Bop Boom, John. Because he was hyping Energy Vampires after I was talking about Slaughter Extrois a couple videos ago. And man, speaking of a couple videos ago, I think this is my 300th video. God damn, I was thinking about doing something for that, but of course, you know, inertia always wins. Okay, so anyway, Energy Vampires is really kind of a crap name because it's plural, right? Kind of sounds like a punk name. But it's really fucking good, man. I guess this is something that they put together like after Slaughter Extrois. Like, it's copyright Energy Vampires 1985, 1990, and then 2007. I'm pretty sure 2007 is this specific edition, but I don't know, man. It's great. First of all, look at some of these pictures. Fuck, where's the really? Oh yeah, right there in the middle, that big one. Check those guys out. Fuck yes. That's a little bit funny because, like, the singer still kind of has that 70s sound that you heard with Slaughter Extrois. So I assume it's the same guy because he sounds really similar. Overall, the band, too, has a lot of that sensibility, but it does have its own sound. It's funny, in a way, like Slaughter Extrois is more sort of, it's weird to say a straight-ahead prog metal band. You know, it's kind of like an oxymoron, but it's more sort of like, you know, progressive metal of the heavy ilk, you know what I mean? Like, you can compare it to early Queensryche, but don't compare it to Rage for Order or later, you know? And frankly, these Slaughter Extrois is so much better than Queensryche, it's not even funny. So this kind of retains some of that, but, you know, it's funny, like, the songs feel like they're a little bit more straightforward, but the record goes into a lot more different places, so that overall this almost feels like even weirder a listen than the Slaughter Extrois record, because it just kind of keeps going in all these places you don't expect, and they're not all great. Like there's this long piano thing, My Eyes, I think it is here. I can't really go song by song on this thing that well, but you know, I'm not really. I kind of feel like that's unnecessary, but what it represents is just how many different places this thing goes, and just sort of all these weird little avenues. So, very highly recommended, man. It's a great record. The choice between this and the Slaughter Extrois record, get the Slaughter Extrois record, because first of all, it's better, and second of all, you'll see this one again sooner. But this is a great record, and frankly, it's pretty cheap. This is a double, and you can probably get it for less than $25 still. So. I don't like to talk about money a lot, but if I'm telling you can get a deal on something and to not dick around for too long if you're interested, you know, that's not quite the same thing. Alright, so I have a special little salute from Mr. Scott Waters here. Because Scott sent me a package. You know, I think I actually got through my last video without mentioning Scott. But it doesn't seem to happen very often. And, I'm trying to decide how to approach this here, but anyway. Joe Perry, let the music do the talking. And I'll tell you something, I played this all the way through, man. This is a cool record. It's not like my usual fare, but it fits really comfortably with some of like the 70s shit. It's not my usual fare that I've kind of been into lately. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I don't know how much of this shit you actually remember from video to video, but like, when I'm listening to shit like Pat Travers, you know what I mean? Or Robin Trower, you know? It's like, this record, when I'm dealing with shit like that, this is fantastic. Because this is better than most of that shit, you know? And it's probably a little bit less sort of glammy sounding than the Aerosmith. It's a little bit more just sort of straight rock. But stylistically, I mean, it's pretty similar to what Aerosmith was doing, I guess around the same time. When did this come out? 1980? Yeah, so I mean, I'm no expert on Aerosmith, and I didn't know that this was originally a Joe Perry solo song, Let the Music Do the Talking, because Aerosmith redid it years later, right? And I remember when that was on the radio and shit. So anyway, here's the part where I hope I don't make Shot feel bad. So as we noticed, the note, super friendly, says, didn't think you would ever buy this for yourself, but thought you might dig it. He was right. I probably would never have bought this for myself. The only thing is, I actually had a copy, also with a note from Scott on it. So I really appreciate it, first of all. Second of all, Scott clearly stands by the record, man. I'll tell you. And third of all, I'm quite confident that what Scott would tell me to do is pass it along to someone. So someone's going to be getting one of these. I've decided which one to keep, though. I find the one that's cooler pressing, you know. So they both have a barcode. I'm just playing games right now. In any case, Scott is very awesome. Now, here's the other thing that was in that pack. And this one I've actually kind of been having a little more trouble with. Old school rap from the 80s. Okay, that's cool. I mean, I tend to like the early 90s shit more when it's a little more sort of heavy and a little sort of, you know, rougher. But, I like 80s rap, but look, man. Oh my god. UTFO and Anthrax. I'd forgotten about this collaboration. And that's just a sticker right there. It's just kind of awesome. But, I actually haven't played this yet. I was going to before I made the video, but I didn't want to put off the video and, you know, go in that circle, but, like, yeah, so I'm just going to put it on right now. Like, I don't tend to go nuts for these kinds of collaborations, you know? But it's like when Public Enemy did that thing with Anthrax, it's like, well, it's Public Enemy. You know, it doesn't really get much more badass than that. But UTFO, I mean, I don't know them as well as Public Enemy, but I seem to recall them being a lot more sort of pop-focused. So, you know something? We're just going to check this shit out. Huh, it's kind of cool how it has that skull and crossbones. I don't think I've ever noticed that before. But I haven't seen a copy of this record in a long time, either. It's a white label promo. Wow, and it's 1987, man, which really is pretty early. There you guys see that shit? This is really cool, as far as what this is. I'm trying to figure out what speed. I would assume 45, but apparently it's 33. Alright, so here we're going to do it, man. So, 3 versions of Lethal. The Mondo bass version, the Stupid bass version. Oh, no, and then SWAT, the Get Down remix. So, I guess 2 different songs, but I'm a little nervous. I almost wonder if Scott sent me this as a jape. I've still never figured out why the hell he had that Tyler the Creator record and then sent it to me, no less. But that's not a complaint. That's just a statement. This is actually awesome.
Is using your voice in a musical manner.
That percussion track is fantastic. I love that kind of shit. Like, I wasn't expecting to hate this, but I didn't think I'd like it that much. Now, this rapping style is definitely early, you know what I mean? Well, let's just let it go for a few minutes. I don't know, man. So, what else do we have to talk about? Alright, so here's another thing. Every so often I like to pull out like sort of a classic, quote unquote, and spend a little time with it. Oh shit, I have a couple other things here too. Okay. There's the guitar. Alright, so here's one of those, okay? This record just clicked for me. I've had this for I don't know how long, right? It's first full length by Hawaii, One Nation Underground. It's 1983. I thought it was like 84, but that's actually even earlier than I realized. Anyway, for a long, this is known for Marty Friedman, right? Marty Friedman notwithstanding, I always thought this band was kind of mediocre. Like I said, I've had this for a long time. The Natives Are Restless too. And then for some reason I bought a copy of Loud, Wild, and Heavy, and that one I've always liked. It's that EP. But this one kind of left me cold. Well, let me tell you, this is actually great. Scott, my hat's off. Anyway, this, fucking UTFO. If you had told me when I was like 17 that I'd be making a video with UTFO in the background, and yeah. Okay, so anyway, this band, this just clicked into place for me, man. Like, the singer used to annoy me, now I think he's great. The songs I used to think were boring, now they just fucking sound good to me, man. You know, this is another one that I've kind of gone back to periodically, or this band, I should say, kind of more generally. Yeah, and I'm fucking glad I did. And I want to actually bring your attention to something very specific about this record. Another reason that long-time viewers, actually not even long-time viewers, long-time viewers will get the significance of this right away. Oh, look at that. You see what that is? I was just saying nice things about this. That is the Shrapnel label. Now, way back when the Metal Theologian first started making videos, and I hope it's obvious I'm just fucking around anytime I refer to myself in the third person like that. There were kind of two things I made my reputation with in retrospect. One was the Jesus Metal video, but the other one was I started attacking Shrapnel Records. And I was kind of doing it to get a rise out of like Scott and Greeno and LJ at the time and shit, but I also legitimately think that like Shrapnel, you know, I see people throwing up the Shrapnel label going, oh yeah, this is a shredder or whatever, but I just think most of the records on that label are crap. I mean, the whole label is set up around like shredders and that sort of thing. You know, you have like those Chastain records and shit. And like later on, it became just like fucking solo records on CD from like just shredder guys, like all Flash, no style guys, the kind of shit that I fucking hate. So I kind of have to stand by that. And some of the records are kind of crap. I don't think the Steeler record is very interesting at all. I think the Keel record on Shrapnel sucks, although I don't think it's as bad as that We Reserve the Right to Rock bullshit. You know, I can't remember the name of it right now. Yeah, there's some real crap on that label. Exciter's cool, Culprit sucks. Well, I would have said that Hawaii was another case in point, but I'll tell you, I no longer can, because I love this record. I really do. So yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say, man. It's just a really good heavy metal record. If you don't dig it, put it on the shelf, come back to it in a year. You don't dig it then, put it on the shelf and come back to it after a year. Maybe after 12 years, you'll be like, hey, this is fucking great. That's pretty much what I did. Now this is the classic one, the real classic that I was looking to revisit. This is so classic, it was in the background of the cover of Born to Metalize, right? But yeah, Violence and Force. Now, this time listening to it, I've played this obviously a lot of times before, right? But every time I listen to this record, it gets better though, man. Like, it kind of took me a couple listens to get my head around Exciter in the first place. And I'll be honest, I wasn't hip to these guys in the 80s. I mean, I remember this record, right? And like the band name and shit, but I wasn't really paying attention to it when I thought that it was a stupid name. And dude, I had all sorts of dumb reasons for not liking shit back in the 80s. I don't even want to go there too much because it would be embarrassing if it weren't so long ago that I just don't give a fuck at all anymore. But anyway, this record is just so good, man. Like I said, it just gets better and better. It's fucking... I don't even know, man. All the songs are just great on this. One of the things that I keep sort of fixating on a little bit is I never before noticed that like the main riff from Violence and Force is the same as the main riff from Phantom Lord. Listen to it. But, just a great record, man. I had all sorts of shit I thought of that I wanted to say about this one, and it's all escaping me right now, because of course I don't have any notes or anything like that. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Great and heavy. I've always kind of felt like Razor was the really top tier band over Exciter. I really no longer feel that way. I sort of put them on an equal footing after spending a little time with that this week. And speaking of shit to spend a little bit of time with, I busted this one out too. Now again, this is a classic that like, I play this tons anyway, but first of all, It's that eagle, and you see how swole he is. That never gets old. Once you realize that, it's the fucking funniest thing ever, man. Man of War. This is so good, man, but like you really kind of hear, they really kind of sound like boomers on this record, honestly, man. With like the Vietnam references and shit like that. Like most metal bands are more like my generation. I think the Man of War guys are a little bit older. I mean, Ross the Boss was around like with the Dictators and shit. That's pretty well known. The other guys, I couldn't tell you about their whole careers, but it's perfectly credible they were already like 30-ish by the time they made this. Again, I don't know if this is the case. I'm just kind of saying it kind of sounds that way, because, yeah, but you know something though? None of this is a slag. If anything, it makes this thing better. Yeah. The fucking, I wish I could remember the whole line, but the line about giving some square the finger, come on, man. That's the very first song, Death Tone. So, yeah, awesome, man. And they don't really become like the Man of War you know and love until Inside 2, like the Dark Avenger and Battle Hymn especially. But all these fucking songs are fantastic. Don't sneeze on that first Man of War. So here's another one. There's one person I mentioned almost as much as Scott Waters is probably Eric Bauer, and here he comes again. He was talking about listening to this thing and really digging it, so I pulled it out. Same deal, I had forgotten how great this thing was. I just kind of sat around, I remember sort of, yeah, I don't remember anything, dude. You know, when I bought this, I was smoking a ton of weed. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, so. This record is great, though. Vixen, made in Hawaii. Like, this band kind of became Hawaii. And actually, if you have one of those early Metal Massacre comps, I want to say it's 2, but I could be wrong about that. But there's a song by a band called Aloha, and they became Vixen, who became Hawaii, if I had that chronology right, which I might not. But, yeah, there aren't that many bands from Hawaii. There's basically this band and all its permutations, and Rat Attack, and I think that's all I can name right off, although... Is Sacred Right from Hawaii? I think Sacred Right might be from Hawaii. Anyway, it's a very cool record. That Hawaii record I showed, I like that one more probably, but this is still a cool record, man. And again, I snoozed on it for a long time. I feel like I'm a fucking terrible influence sitting here saying this is why you should never get rid of any records ever. But it's just a fucking reality, man. So let's talk about this one, and then we're getting kind of long here. Oh shit, man, I just dropped my shit. Talked about this one before. Yeah, as far as I know, this record is the only record that was licensed by the Devil's label. And I think the Devil's record press, even though it's a second press, excuse me, I think that one seems to be harder to find than this first version. This is on Arabella. I don't know anything about them except they're a bigger label. So that cover kind of looks like, you know, maybe it's Rats or something like that. Voix de Fait. That's kind of dank too, right there. Look at that. But, yeah, and look at that, man. They kind of look like Loverboy or something like that. Now that mustache does give you a little hint that there might be some awesomeness here. But this is a fucking fantastic, like, rock and heavy metal record. It has one of the sleaziest song titles ever, with Pas plus de saison. That's some fucking shady shit. This record's just great though, man. It just fucking rocks. Like, if all glam sounded like this, I've said this about other records too, if all glam sounded like this, people like me wouldn't have hated glam. Because this is fucking great. Look at this guy too, man. Like, maybe that's why, because like, that isn't really much of a glam face, you know? So maybe he was like, well fuck it, man, I guess I better be a rock and roller, you know? I'm not pretty like fucking Bret Michaels, but Lemmy can fucking rock, and I don't look that bad. So hey, fuck it, man. And guess what? He left us a fantastic record. So yeah. So whoever this guy is, I'll drink to him. Also, the red leather's pretty awesome. Alright, so that's pretty much what I had. I mean, there are a few other things here, man, but I don't talk about every record that I pull out. Might seem that way, but especially with being remote all the time. Oh, hey, here's another one I'm starting to give up on, and then I'll end it after this one. This fucking Breaker record, Another one. I've had this, dude. I don't know fucking how long I've had this thing. But yeah, man, I'm just starting to really dig this record, you know? I don't know. I've never not liked this record, you know? The cover's pretty cool. It looks like an NSBM cover, actually. Like Capricornus or something like that. But of course this is earlier than that anyway. But yeah, 1987, they're from Cleveland. That's just fucking great, man. I just dig the songs and shit. Fuck man, I can put it on for that now. Alright, so once again, Scott's kind of blowing my mind with this shit. I just I don't even know what to say. I'll fire a breaker for just a minute and we'll go. Not to be confused with the Canadian breaker, by the way. Whom I've always liked, but they're frankly not as heavy as these guys. They're a little more hard rocky. They kind of have more prog going on though, you know. This thing is really just straight ahead. You know, it's rock and roll is what it is, but they turn it up loud enough that it kind of becomes metal, and that's what we all love, right? If you're watching this channel, you probably do. Alright. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. What's not to love, man? It's right there. Oh, I'll show one more record. Here's another one I played too. You know what's funny? This is a beautiful copy of this record, and I'm quite sure I didn't pay more than $1 for it. Yeah, this is one of those. Every so often I'll pull something out and see that can't really be as bad as I remember it being. Yeah, this is as bad as I remember it being. This fucking record sucks, man. Dude, these guys make the fucking Marshall Tucker band seem like fucking. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm fucking no good at the analogies today. Let's just say this is really lame and sucks, okay? And the Marshall Tucker band is kind of wimpy, but they pull it off, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge fan, right? But the Marshall Tucker band, I can totally hang with that fucking flute. No problem with that. Fits right in with those Southern rock grooves. The Outlaws, no, their Southern rock grooves are fucking bullshit. You know something? They had some good mustaches, but that just goes to show, man. I was gonna say you can't judge a book by its cover, but you know something, man? This thing has something else going on. You know what it is? The fucking Arista label. How many good records are there on Arista that you can think of? I'll tell you, if you're ever looking at records like in the dollar bin, like let's say it's like 1996 and you just poke it through because everything's only $1 and no one gives a shit about records, and you pick something up like this, you go, yeah, it might be a cool Southern rock record. You probably heard of the Outlaws, right? But it might be a cool Southern rock thing. I wonder if it's any good or if it might suck. Well, one of the indicators that it might suck, fucking Arista, man. Arista, Jesus, man, they put out a lot of shit. Them and MCA, man. But I'd be even the hard part. Like you say MCA, the first thing I think of is those early budgie records, you know? I mean, MCA was kind of a dung heap of a label. But for my money, Arista is the fucking worst. So, anyway. Appropriately, they released the first Outlaws record, which is a fucking piece of shit. So on that note, I hope you're all feeling like $1,000,000. And thanks for watching.